make a motion tonight to accept the agenda with one amendment, and that would be to remove item 22 from the regular agenda.
Support. Motion by Councilman Meyers, support by Councilwoman Croft. Discussion? Hearing none. All for, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 4, may I have a motion to approve the acceptance of the minutes of the meeting held May 2nd, 2017, and dispense with oral reading.
Make a motion.
Support. Motion by Councilman Willie, supported by Councilwoman Croft. Discussion? Hearing none. All those for yes?
Yes.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries. Item number 5, I believe we have at least one item under Mayor Communications.
Madam Chair, we do. If it's okay with the City Council, I'd like to turn the floor over to Councilman Meyers. He has a presentation and acknowledgement.
Councilman Meyers, 22601. Hope you drive Taylor, Michigan, beautiful downtown Taylor, Michigan. I'm wearing my other hat as chairman of the Taylor Veterans Museum Commission. I want to present to you tonight our recipient of our museum's scholarship program, Johnny Fife from Toomer High School. Please step up. Promised him he had to make a 10-minute speech, and then he said he was not going to wear his uniform for that reason. Congratulations again, John. It was looking real sharp Friday night at the military ball at the junior ROTC had for both schools. And which school are we going to?
Kennedy, sir.
Pardon?
Kennedy, sir.
No, after Kennedy.
U of M Dearborn.
U of M Dearborn, okay. We have fun with that. Congratulations and thank you for
Okay. Item 6, may I have a motion to approve the second reading of the residential parking to be added to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 28, Article 4, or 9, to provide for residential only parking in designated areas.
Motion to approve.
support.
Motion by Councilman Garza, supported by Councilman Meyers. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, there was some discussion last night at the study session in regards to Waddell, and Mr. Eric Daniel is here to perhaps shed some light on that for you.
So, my name is Eric Daniel, brother one with Dylan. I just wanted to say that people on my block weren't too happy with the idea of residential parking. Not everybody, but a good amount of people. And I just wanted to be honest about it so that it wouldn't be, they'd be frustrated with me because I guess they thought I'm the only one that signed the petition and they didn't know how it could be passed on my street if I was the only one. So I thought I'd bring it to your attention. Any questions?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Garza.
Through the chair to Mr. Daniel, I just wanted to kind of elaborate more on the reasoning that your neighbor's given you for not wanting the residential parking on their street.
There's multiple reasons. Some people feel like it would be another headache. Other people feel like it's taking away their freedom somehow. I got a lot of reasons, but mainly it's got that they were frustrated about it.
Thank you. Madam Chair.
Councilman Missouri.
I missed the discussion yesterday, so did I hear correctly that only one person on the entire street signed the petition, or what was the discussion yesterday?
Madam Chair, I believe that is accurate, Councilman Missouri. When we sat down with the chief and Dave Greco, the prosecutor, we looked at the problem areas. As you know, the other two streets had complete petitions signed. Waddell was represented by Mr. Daniel. The issue was that whether they wanted to sign the petition or not, the same problem existed on Waddell. So what we discussed last night, based on the feedback that we received, was that there will be some latitude allowed for those that have multiple vehicles concern that they have cars that, as long as they're legally registered, the police department would have the authority to give them, complete permits to park in the street. Again, we can pull or remove Waddell from the petition, but I think the problem is still going to exist if we do that.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Meyers.
And I appreciate the mayor's explanation on that. My fear is if we remove one street from this application here, is that you're going to realize a much deeper problem once the other two streets around you have residential only parking and then your street's left out, and then you start getting that traffic onto your street, and that's something that is concerning to me if we were to do something like that and remove your street from the list.
Well, that was my concern too, that we would get the overflow, like you're saying, but it seemed like people's opinion was more of, we'll deal with that if that happens.
Thank
Have
you.
your neighbors approached you and asked you to take your name off the petition?
I wouldn't say necessarily to take my name off it, but they weren't too happy that I was the only one signing the paper and that it was actually going through.
They feel you understand what it was meant to do?
I tried to explain the best I could. For whatever reason, everybody has a different, feel on things, so I did what I could as far as explaining it to them, but at the end, it boiled down to legal happiness.
Through the chair, Mr. Daniels, are you then asking for us to remove Waddell from consideration for the parking? Is that?
I personally think that we're going to need it, but again, I have to live there. I don't want my neighbors mad at me. Maybe if it's something that maybe later on, I don't know.
Madam Chair, my recommendation would not be to remove Waddell. It would be to try to accommodate their issues or concerns. I think we have a plan that works for the residents. I think we have a plan that works for the business owner. I think we have a plan that works ultimately for the police department. I would leave Waddell on as is, and if there are individual requests or needs that we can address, the police chief has the latitude to do so. I would suggest let's go that route instead of removing it now.
As far as them signing a petition to go against it, is that going to make a difference? Or?
At this point, City Council has the authority, with or without petitions, to make this happen. So,
I had to come at least try that. Hopefully, they're not mad at me about it.
Madam Chair, if you would get your neighbors to come into the city council meeting and voice their opinions also, that would help. I mean, sending the man back who signed the original petition, that kind of,
We forced them to come, but I did tell them that there was going to be a meeting.
Madam Chair, I just want to say, Mr. Daniels, that, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming and trying to advocate on behalf of your neighbors, even if you don't agree with them. So I appreciate that.
Just trying to make it clear.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Missouri.
if we're led to believe that a majority of the residents are going to sign a petition to come out, and that's built into the document that we're about to approve, I don't know how much sense it makes to move forward with this document if we're going to turn around and do something that we're going to vote on tonight. If we believe that a majority of the residents don't want what we're about to enact. And as far as multiple cars, we're going to have different rules on different streets. I'm concerned with enforcement all along, but if, this document says that if you own a property, you get 2 tags. If we're going to make exceptions on one street, they're going to get 3 or 4. It seems like we're going to make what was already a difficult task of enforcement even more difficult. And I don't want to speak for the Taylor Police, but I think it's challenging to begin with, and this just muddies the water even more.
Madam Chair, if I could clarify, we're not suggesting different rules for different streets. What we're suggesting is that the police chief has some latitude or authority to issue multiple passes for licensed registered vehicles at those addresses. Now, if they're unlicensed or unregistered, or they're not registered to that address, then it does become a little more problematic. But if they just have more than 2 vehicles, then we can issue another permit for that, so that they're covered and protected. We're not trying to victimize residents. We're just trying to protect, per the proposed ordinance, what we think is a compromise that will work for everybody. And I don't know, to that end, I don't know that we have how many residents. I mean, I spoke to you personally a couple of times now, and this is the first that I've heard of. That's not totally true. Last time was the first we heard that there was any issue at all. So I don't know if that's 2 residents or if that's 20 residents. I have no way to gauge that. What I'm saying is we have a plan that we believe will work. We can certainly move forward accordingly. If there's issues, we can address those issues later on.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Miller.
to the mayor, like Councilman Missouri said, I'm for this, but I'm just concerned that, I would just like to, maybe say that this is more of a tool to help with this program, because I'm worried about like Friday and Saturday, which is probably our police officers' busiest nights. How able are we going to be able to monitor that situation, that they can't be parked over there? So I just, is there a plan on how, I don't want to show our cards, so to speak, but, I guess that's my biggest concern.